Well, we have more now on what is happening in Afghanistan. The federal government says it is working to get out Afghans who helped Canada over the years. The Prime Minister also talking about bringing other Afghans to safety as well.
We continue to do the work on allowing and enabling people who've been there for Canadians, whether it's interpreters or drivers or security or whatever, to make sure that they're coming to safety. There are also human rights activists and civil society leaders, journalists, and community leaders who we are working with to try and make sure that we are offering them the safety and the future that they deserve.
But the chaotic scene this morning at Kabul airport likely raises further challenges for Ottawa. Thousands of Afghans are now there. A New York Times Magazine correspondent saying many rushed to the airport today on a rumor they would be allowed to board planes to Canada. A spokesperson for the immigration minister tells the Globe and Mail that there are no more Canadian Forces flights going into Kabul, but he adds that Ottawa is trying to get people out on other countries' evacuation flights. Well, for more, we are reaching out once again to Robin Rickards. He served 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan with the Canadian Armed Forces. He now volunteers with Not Left Behind, a group trying to get Afghan citizens who helped Canadian forces out of Afghanistan. Now, you may know that I spoke to Robin yesterday, but as the situation is developing quickly, we did want to speak to him again today. He joins us in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Robin, thank you for being with us once again. You have been, as I say, in frequent contact with people on the ground in Afghanistan. On this Monday morning, what are you hearing?
Panic, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for people in Afghanistan to even trust our group, because we've had faith that the Canadian government would have a plan. We've waited and waited and waited, and it hasn't. I listened to Mr. Trudeau's announcement, and, all I can say is that I find what he had to say morally bankrupt and intellectually dishonest.
Why do you say that?
Because why would you, short of electioneering, why would you say that we're going to open up the ability to come to Canada for all these people at risk, but provide no way to do it? The problem that we've had is none of these people have passports. They're not able to cross the Pakistani border, even if they wanted to, even if they wanted to take the risk, they can't get across any of the land borders. They can't fly out. The only avenue for escape for them is in Afghanistan. And the Prime Minister just slammed that door shut by pulling the Canadian forces out of Afghanistan. His line about relying on the charity of our allies is absurd. So it's incredibly frustrating. And the idea that the Taliban is a kinder, gentler Taliban, well, I'll just read you what one fellow said, who was, and this guy was a security contractor with us, and he secured our bases in the south. He said, "I want your help and cooperation. My family and I are going to die. They've already started killing a lot." Of course, they try to tell false news that they entered the city peacefully, but they are searching people's houses now. And if they find any documentation from foreign forces, my fate and that of my family will be destroyed. They are aware of my background. Please help me and my family. And my inbox is filled with well over 1,000 of these emails right now.
People calling out for help. And as you said to us yesterday, this is not a surprise to you and to those who served in Afghanistan trying to get those who aided Canadian forces out of the country. You say you've been lobbying for months now.
We have, and I'm gonna warn your viewers that this is graphic, but I'm gonna share my screen right now. Where are we here? There we go.
So warning, what you're about to put up is graphic. Perhaps you can describe it for us if you're having a, rather than showing it, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, I think what we should be talking about is what happened to one of our allies' wives down in Kandahar about 3 weeks ago, when we were begging the government to land Canadian forces and the DART team, along with some special forces down in Kandahar Airfield, to evacuate people by C-1117. We had one of our people have their wife assassinated by the Taliban as she visited her parents' house about 18 hours before she was due to fly to Kabul. And the Taliban wouldn't allow the family to recover the body. They wanted the husband to come and recover the body.
To flush him out.
And her parents forbade him from going because they didn't want their grandkids to be an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
The Taliban wouldn't hand the body over to the family for burial. It wouldn't hand the body over to the village elders that were sent to talk with the Taliban. But the village elders did manage to get a photograph to confirm her identity.
Robin, I want to ask, I'm sorry, Robin, I need to jump in here because I'm wondering, what can the Canadian government do then to help the people who helped Canadian forces during the Afghanistan mission, given the situation where the Taliban has now overtaken Kabul, much of the country, and as you say, consular staff, Canadian officials have left the country?
They can send Canadian forces planes in. They can work with our allies to expand the security bubble around Kabul International Airport and make it clear to the Taliban that allowed safe passage out of the country.
Robin, I only have 30 seconds, but I want to ask you, how are you feeling in this moment as a Canadian veteran, given what's happening in Afghanistan?
Absolutely livid.
Livid because of the failure?
Because of the empty promises that my government has given repeatedly.
Robin.
Because we had faith in the Canadian government to have a plan, and we moved almost 1,000 people to Kabul to take part in this, plus all the people in Kabul. And those are just the people that our little organization laid hands on, so to speak. And all we've done is funnel them into a charnel house.
Robin, thank you for this. I'm sorry that our time has come to an end, but thank you for joining us again today.
Thank you for having me, Michael. I really appreciate it.